Hey guys, Chris here. Today we have a story about a solo female hiker with her dog, and they're in Colorado on a day hike, and they hear something that's not only sounds like a person, but it gets very confusing, and then very disturbing, and then very frightening. That's next. Okay, we are along the Carson River this afternoon. I'm doing a little bit of a hike. I've seen some ducks and geese. It's a really nice day. We got snow in the mountains still, and which is a good thing. And hopefully there's more on the way. It's been pretty dry around here the last month. But for today's beer, we have Farmers Brewing Company Garage Dweller Hazy IPA, 7.5 ABV, 19.2 fluid ounces. And that is a hazy, like I just said. That has got like a kind of an ominous guy brewing or doing something, working in a shed late at night. There's a cat looking in the front door here. Some backwoods shed, kind of a Texas chainsaw thing going on. I don't know. But we're going to take a taste of the hazy and see what we got there. Oh, right away I can smell kind of a citrusy flavor. Oh, it's very blonde. No, I can definitely smell the aroma there. Very pleasant. All right, we're gonna take it right out of the can. Ooh, really bubbly. Kind of a bitter, almost sour finish to it, and then kind of a fruity, almost a citrusy taste for a little bit at the end there. Wow, that's pretty wild. It's got a carbonated fruit kind of taste to it. It's hazy, so there you go. That's really that's actually really pretty good. Oh, and then it's got kind of a very bitter dry after about a minute. Wow, I can taste that. All right, well, there you go. Garage Dweller Hazy IPA. Cheers. This story takes place in Colorado. Beautiful Colorado. Eastern half is very flat, very Nebraska-like. Western half, obviously, is Continental Divide and the Rockies. Very high Rockies, a lot of 14,000 foot peaks plus. In northern Colorado, north central Colorado, is Steamboat Springs, town, resort, ski area. And adjacent to that, and running north and south from Steamboat, is the Routt National Forest, which goes up to the Wyoming border, and it merges with the Medicine Bow National Forest and creates 2.2 million acres of wildlands, with including the Mount Zirkle Wilderness and a couple other wildernesses in the middle of that. This was set aside by Teddy Roosevelt in 1905 as the Medicine Bow Forest Reserve. And this is where Sandy, who was from Boulder, Colorado, went to go see her sister, who was living in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And they had a home there. They lived at the base of the mountain, the ski area. And she came summer of 2005 to see her sister and her husband and just hang out with them for a couple of weeks. She just loved to see her sister, her older sister, and they had a really good relationship. And so she said, yeah, just come on by. We'll hang out and you can do some hikes and we'll have some nice dinners, barbecues, hang out together. While Sandy was there visiting her sister, on a daily basis, she would take Stacy's dog, Smokey, out for a walk. She really enjoyed this. She started out in the subdivision, just going around the little neighborhood at the base of the mountain. And then eventually she got to the end of the subdivision and would work her way up into the forest. And she really liked it up there. And Smokey was a very mellow dog, very chill, and just loved the attention and just going off and just going for a walk like most dogs do. And she went farther and farther out every time she went out. And this particular time, July of 2005, she decided to make more of an excursion out of it, little adventure. She got the day pack, put some food and water in it, put some biscuits for the dog, and she was going to go past her normal route and just get up there quite a ways and just enjoy the view and just an afternoon in the mountains. She leaves, they get to the end of the subdivision, she's got the dog on the leash, they start working their way up, takes the dog off the leash, and they're on a deer trail, scrub oak, going through the scrub oak. And there's the foothills in Colorado, there's a lot of scrub oak, then it works its way to aspen, then meadows, and then pine forest, and then the peaks. She goes through this scrub oak, the dog's having a great time. They get to this meadow, and now they're starting to get in more aspen trees. They can see farther up, and it's just beautiful. She gets to the other side of this meadow and decides to take a break, sitting on this rock. Takes the pack off, gets the water out, gets her lunch, her little sandwich, gets the biscuits for the dog. The dog's having a nice time. And they're just hanging out in this meadow for a long time, watching the clouds go by, listening to the birds, some wildflowers. And then suddenly, Smokey, good-sized dog, acts funny. And he stops, and he's looking uphill, and he's listening to something. And Sandy's doesn't hear anything, doesn't see anything. She doesn't think too much about it. And then Smokey comes over and kind of nudges and noses Sandy in the leg while she's sitting on this rock. Turns, and then the dog starts walking back down the hill, down the mountain on the route they just come up. While it's walking, it looks over its shoulder like, "Aren't you coming? We need to go. We need to go." The dog comes back and repeats this again, over, nudges her, starts walking down the mountain, looks over his shoulder like, "Come on." She doesn't, not sure what's going on. The dog is acting really strange. He's acting agitated. The third time, the dog comes back and he starts whimpering, almost whining, this whining sound. Very agitated. Smokey was acting very agitated and like, "We gotta go." She stands up and is like, "Okay, I'm good. We can go. Just, there's no fire here to put out. Just relax. But let me pull it together and we'll head out." Soon as she gets the pack on, she starts snapping in, clipping in. She gets this sudden chill that just comes over her. This very anxious feeling like she's being watched. Very vulnerable. And she looks around, doesn't see anything, doesn't hear anything. Gets the dog to come over. She clips the dog onto the leash, and she starts heading down the mountain. She's not sure what's going on, but she's thinking maybe there's a mountain lion or a bear about somewhere. And the dog sensed it. She's like, "Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here." She's moving pretty quickly down the slope, heading back into this scrub oak. And this scrub oak can be very thick, very unrelenting, and it's all the same height, and it's just thick, and and she missed the deer trail, and she's going through the brush, and then she stops, and she heard something back up where they were. She listens again, and again she's got this chill that comes over her, and she heard what she thought was a voice that said, "Help, help," from up above. And she waited and listened again. And the dog is just tugging, wanting to go. And she hears, "Help." Kind of faint, but very clear, "Help." And she's a little confused, a little alarmed, like it doesn't seem right. And she's thinking, like, who is this? What's going on? And then she thought, you know what? I don't want to go back up there. I think what I'll do is I'll head down the mountain and I'll contact the sheriff. And I'll just say, I was hiking and I heard somebody yelling for help. I didn't know where they were, and I just thought I'd let you know that. So she felt some relief, like, okay, I kind of resolved this. She starts heading down. The dog is shaking, just shaking with fear. And she'd never seen the dog do this. It's very chill, very relaxed. And they start moving down the mountain again, and she can still hear behind her, but louder now, this help, help. And she, just almost out of frustration, she stops. She's holding on the dog is pulling, and she's getting frustrated at the dog. And then she looks back up the mountain and she just says, I think I'm going to respond. She just yells out at the top of her lungs, "What's wrong?" Just like, I'm going to put that out there and doing my due diligence, and just she waited 10, 15 seconds. Again, she heard, help, help. She just felt this, something's not right. Her intuition kicked in, and we got to go. This ain't right. And she's going down through the scrub oak as quick as she can, and the dog is nosing its way through the brush, and she's hanging on, not wanting to lose the dog, because that's like her only safety valve that she's got is the dog, and the dog doesn't want to be there. She's getting whipped in the face, scratches on her arms, comes out into this next clearing, another clearing. She's clearly off the route that they were before, but she's knows they're heading down at least. They're in this clearing. She's catching her breath. She's exhausted. The dog is shaking, wants to keep going. She's holding on to the dog. And she sees these trees, this aspen grove. And when you're in the mountains, even in midday, because of the mountains up and down, the shadows can be pretty dark if it's on the right side of the mountain at the right time. And she heard something in the forest, and the dog was looking at the forest as well and looked very concerned. And she heard from these trees, sounded like a baby crying, kind of like, I'm just going to attempt it, something like that, but like a baby crying. Really creepy. And her first, again, there's always this first thought. You're trying to figure out what's going on so you don't miss something. There's a baby crying. There's somebody yelling for help. She wants to do her part if possible. And she has to resist the urge to go into the forest to go see what's going on. And she's thinking, is this baby crying have something to do with the person yelling for help? Is the baby missing? Is the person looking for the baby? It's just confusing. And at the same time, her intuition is saying there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. Don't go in there. And she's thinking she's starting to lose her mind a little bit, a little hysterical. But then the dog's pulling on her to go down into the forest, down the mountain to get out of there. And so it brings her back to reality. It's like the dog is sensing this. I'm sensing this. I got to go. She starts moving again through the forest, getting into this scrub oak, and working her way over on a different route down the mountain. And she gets to this point where she realizes that she totally missed the way up, and she's not going to end up back at the subdivision. She knows the area enough. She's heading down. She's going to end up more on the ski runs over towards where the ski area is. And she was thinking maybe I could go back up and reroute, because there was this rock outcropping and this small ridge dividing, and it was separating her. And she thought, no way am I going back up to come back down. I am just going to go through and get onto the ski run and work my way back to town and work my way over. That's what we're going to do. She's going as fast as she can. This fear just is filling her. And they get to the spot in this scrub oak, and they stop again to rest, just to catch her breath. And suddenly, Smokey, this mellow, chill dog, starts growling this deep, primal growl. She'd never seen this before, never heard this from Smokey. Smokey's looking to her right, and he's looking right into the forest, and she's looking over into this scrub oak, and she sees this shadow. And she's thinking, okay, maybe it's just the light hitting the trees. I don't know. She's really stressed. And all of a sudden, this shadow moves. And she sees really wide shoulders and this smallish head, and this thing is 7-8 feet tall, moving, looking right at her. And all she sees is a silhouette. She's not even sure what she's looking at. Filled with absolute terror, turns and runs with the dog pulling her, almost falling, biffing it behind the dog as they worked through this brush. And she had this sense that it was this very primal fear, like people from thousands of years ago felt when they heard something, some saber-toothed tiger or some bear in the forest, and they didn't know what it was. She had no idea what this was. She couldn't sketch it in a sketch if she had to. It was just this silhouette, but it was clearly moving, clearly alive, and clearly large, dark shape. Going through this forest, working their way through, they break out into this meadow, and she can see the ski run down below, and she knows there's going to be a road or something up ahead. They continue moving as fast as she can run, and they get on this road, a dirt road, and it's paralleling the ski run. Couple minutes down this dirt road, running with the dog, and she sees a couple coming up the hill. She doesn't stop, doesn't explain anything. She's still in the middle of this. She just goes right by them, keeps running, and then she sees up ahead some more people, 3 people walking down the mountain on this road, and she stops and starts walking behind them, a ways away, but she's walking behind them. Now she's with people, and she feels at least some safety with people around her. And the dog was still stressed, but he wasn't shaking anymore, and he was just moving ahead, wasn't pulling as hard, and they felt they were out of danger. She worked her way to the bottom with Smokey, found the right road, street through the neighborhood, worked her way back to her sister's house. Once they got back to the house, Sandy took care of Smokey, fed him, watered him, gave him water, and Smokey drank a lot of water. He just kept drinking water, drinking and drinking. Then he was done, and he went down the hallway to the bedroom, went under the bed, Stacy's bed, and just hunkered down for the whole afternoon. Sandy waited the rest of the afternoon for her sister to come home. About 5:30, Stacy comes home, and Sandy told her everything that had happened, the whole story. Stacy had no idea what was going on. She'd never experienced anything like that. Sandy didn't either. And they both agreed, probably let the police know what happened. We don't know of anyone missing, but you did hear somebody asking for help, yelling for help. And so just call. So Sandy called the police, told them the whole story, and they said, we have not any reports of anyone missing. We'll make a note of this, but there's not enough information about somebody not showing up or missing that we can send out a search party. There's really nothing we can do, but we'll keep our ears open, keep our eyes open. Okay, that's cool. Sandy stayed a couple more days, and then she went back to Boulder. She's in college. And 2 weeks to the day that this happened, she got a call. Sandy got a call from her sister, Stacy, and Stacy said, have you heard the news? And Sandy said, no, what news? What are you talking about? Well, according to the police, there was a report, and there was a couple that went in the same area you were at with Smokey, and they reported back to the police that they heard somebody yelling for help, and they heard a baby crying, and then they were harassed by something large and dark in the forest. They were harassed by it. There wasn't a lot of details about what that story was, but they saw it. They saw whatever this was, and they said, to their best knowledge, this was a Sasquatch / Bigfoot. They saw a Bigfoot, according to this report. And that is our story from northern Colorado. Pretty wild. I've heard stories about Bigfoot mimicking lots of different things, including coyotes, owls, birds, crickets, and even people. Mimicking voices like people. Really creepy, strange, and frightening. I can't imagine hearing that in the forest. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching and following my channel. I really appreciate it. It is a really nice day out here. It's a little breezy, a little cool, but it's nice to be. I love being next to the water. It's constantly moving, and there's fish in here as well. So that's pretty cool. But if you guys like what I do, hit like and subscribe. I always appreciate that. And if you want to check out my merchandise, I love these tin cups, camp cups, and I got some different designs on them. They got the Base Camp Chris and some different designs of Bigfoot things going on. Hats, tees, hoodies. That helps me out a little bit. I really appreciate that. Fourth Wall, Base Camp Chris. That's where you can pick that stuff up. So, all right, you guys. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you allowing me to just sit out here and tell you stories. It's kind of fun. So, all right, guys. Take care. We'll see you in the next one. As always, keep hiking.